What actually kills you when the world stops working? If your answer is a gang of armed looters, the data says you're 96% wrong. Looking at real-world collapses, from post-Katrina New Orleans to Russia in '92, it turns out gunfights are the least of your worries. While the prepping industry sells you combat gear, history tells a much more disturbing truth. In a collapse, death doesn't come with a bang. It comes in silence. Stick around, because we're diving into the 7 real threats that nobody is training for. First up, your own body. The average American takes under 2 miles worth of steps daily, and 60% don't meet basic physical activity levels. Then collapse hits, and suddenly you're hauling 40-pound water containers, chopping wood in February, and potentially sprinting from threats. Your body's been in power save mode for years, and overnight it's expected to perform like an 1850s field laborer. During Katrina, cardiac events spiked massively. In the Soviet collapse, male life expectancy dropped 7 years in a decade, not from war, but from bodies that couldn't adapt fast enough. Guys drop $900 on rifle optics but won't spend 30 minutes 3 times weekly on a treadmill. If your cardiovascular system redlines at minute 3, that $3,000 bug-out bag belongs to whoever finds your body next to it. Number 2. Dental infections. Before penicillin, a tooth abscess was a routine path from toothache to coffin. Here's your timeline. Days 1 through 3, that sensitive molar starts throbbing. Days 4 through 7, constant pain, swelling, fever, your decision-making degrading from pain and sleep loss. Days 7 through 10, infection breaches the tooth and spreads through your jaw. Days 10 through 14, sepsis, organs failing in sequence. Without IV antibiotics, mortality is catastrophic. Right now, 1 in 3 American adults has an untreated cavity, normal life, a postponed dental bill, grid down, a countdown. In Venezuela today, people with smartphones are dying from toothaches. You've got 17 water purification methods, but how many fish antibiotics do you have? The forager's graveyard comes next. Soviet Union, 1991. The economy imploded and millions turned to the forests. Mushroom poisoning fatalities exploded. Meet the death cap. Amanita looks nearly identical to edible species. Pleasant flavor, no warning signs. You eat it, feel fine for 6 to 12 hours, then the toxins start destroying your liver. Within 24 hours, acute liver failure. Field treatment means dying over 3 to 5 days in extraordinary pain. It's growing in your neighborhood right now, near oak trees, in parks, in suburban backyards. Hemlock looks almost identical to wild carrot. The person who watched 3 YouTube videos is more dangerous than someone with 0 knowledge because they're confidently wrong. Expert foragers with decades of experience still make fatal identification errors. 2 weeks after Katrina, New Orleans had a new apex predator, 50,000 abandoned dogs. Within weeks, pack dynamics took over and packing changes everything. You don't have 20 individual dogs. You have a coordinated hunting unit exceeding 1,000 pounds. Hunger-driven, operating at night. There are 90 million pet dogs in America right now. Your subdivision alone has enough to form multiple packs. That golden retriever 3 doors down, 6 weeks without food. It's not your kid's friend anymore. It's a predator that knows your yard. Then there's 30,000 black bears, 6 million feral hogs, and when garbage collection stops, rodent populations carrying hantavirus and plague detonate within weeks. Everyone preps for raiders with rifles. Nobody preps for 40 feral pit bulls at 3 a.m. Refeeding syndrome sounds fictional, but it's brutally real. 3 weeks into collapse, food's been scarce, you've lost 20 pounds. Then you find an untouched storage unit full of canned goods. You eat until you're full for the first time in 21 days. Your heart stops 18 hours later from eating. Prolonged starvation restructures your electrolyte balance. When you eat aggressively, insulin spikes, driving remaining electrolytes into cells, blood levels crash, and without proper cardiac rhythm coordination, you get arrhythmia, respiratory failure, death within 24 to 72 hours. When Allied forces liberated concentration camps in 1945, some survivors died not from captivity, but from rescue meals. Every prepper has a plan for when food runs out. Nobody has a plan for when food comes back. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The person most likely to kill you is someone you already know. During the siege of Sarajevo, a significant portion of civilian violent deaths came from neighbors, not enemy combatants. Post-Katrina, most looting was committed by local residents. Week 3 in your 5-person prepper group, food's tighter than projected, somebody's eating more than their share, resentment builds like carbon monoxide, then it detonates. Your group has no court system, no police, resource disputes, leadership fractures, paranoia from sleep deprivation and caloric restriction, all in psychologically normal humans. Then comes the scenario nobody game plans. A group member badly hurt, needs resources the group can't spare, won't recover without help that doesn't exist. That conversation happens, and whatever gets decided, the group that existed before is gone forever. The final killer is psychogenic death, what military psychologists call give-up-itis. A documented phenomenon where a human being decides below conscious thought to stop living, and the body obeys. 5 stages: social withdrawal, apathy, loss of will, total unresponsiveness, then death 3 to 4 days later, with no definitive cause at autopsy. Korean War POWs would find a corner, pull a blanket overhead, and be dead in 2 to 3 days. The common thread isn't physical extremity, it's psychological defeat. The moment the brain concludes there's no exit, the body begins systematic shutdown. You cannot stockpile the will to live. The decisive factor across every culture studied isn't fitness or supplies, it's purpose, a reason to keep going stronger than the voice telling you it's hopeless. This is the conversation the prepper community refuses to have. Nobody's talking about what happens to your mind after week 3 of no electricity, no information, no certainty, and no end in sight.